level good. You know, I think Karakan would agree there. Artists gotta eat. As much as you want to make a pretty picture, at the end of the day, you still need to feed yourself. And that's why I'm streaming. Because I want to keep making games. $68 to $66. 34 to 66. It's like I was asking some of the guys who were working on some other games. Like I ran into the guys who were working on Subnautica, and I was like, how did you guys get so many YouTubers playing your game? And he's just like, it's, you know, it's just luck sometimes. We didn't go out of our way to do X, Y, or Z or something insane. They just picked up the game and it worked for them, and you can't count on it. I'm like, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. That's also why I partnered. Part of why I partnered with Adam Phillips, who makes Bitey of Brackenwood and is the creator of Brackenwood, because it's a big name, and you know he's not 100% full time on the project. You know, he's working on Bob's Burgers and all these other things. Well, not anymore. He's just working on Bob's Burgers, not doing a bunch of freelance stuff. But I'm full-time dedicated to the game, and you know, you'd be like, well, why would you be full-time dedicated and, you know, not him or something? You know, it's like, well, he brings a lot to the table just with that, the notoriety of, like, he's got a real product there that's, you know, people are gonna know it. That's why I gave up my game to work on this one. I was like, man, Bitey of Brackenwood, not only is it just awesome, but you know, that's a bigger name, and a bigger name means, you know, more time to make it better and all that. Those textures are looking kind of shitty, aren't they? Like, I guess it's just because it's really small, isn't it? But maybe there's like some compression settings that are not very good. I need to learn more about Unreal and its textures. Because this should look a lot better than it does there. At least I think it should. Maybe it's the material that I'm using. Like, that texture, that's not what that looks like. Is it? I guess it might be. That guy is still alive. Yeah, have a good one, Korg. So let's see, we got mask lit sprite, translucent unlit sprite. Maybe that's what we need. Alright, yeah, that's looking correct. That's looking a lot better. Yeah, food, sleep, and roof. And that's kind of one of the other things I was trying to explain to some developers, because there's been a lot of, especially with free to play and stuff like that coming out. There's been over the last 5 years or more, right? Maybe 8 years. It's been a lot of disillusionment in the industry that, the industry with all these mobile and social games and everything, that it's losing its soul, right? Like there's this feeling of yeah, this material is now looking a lot better. There's a feeling that the industry is sold out and things like that, and that there's a bit of a kickback of like making money is bad and awful and things like that. And I was trying to explain to some of these things that like making money in a game is there's kind of two ways to go about it. There is making money is awful because we're just stealing money from people, day one DLC and all sorts of pre-order bonuses and et cetera, et cetera. Where do you draw the line versus like a free-to-play game that's like, okay, pay me $1,000 and you win this match. That's obviously just way over the line. But where do you draw it? And do you draw it at? I mean, there's actually this question when we were at Amazon, which was, Amazon is all about customer first. Like literally in any meeting, like it's actually really cool. You can say like, I don't feel like this decision is good for our customers, and it's something that people actually respect. Like you can stop a meeting, and it doesn't matter who you are. If you're just like, the customers won't like this. This is not a good thing for people who are our customers. I know it'll make us money, but that sucks, and we shouldn't do it. That's just wrong. So that's one thing that's really good about places like Amazon. So, and as a result, when we were trying to come up with monetization for our game, one of the monetization strategies was pay what you want. And we didn't actually go with that, but it was interesting that it actually came up to the, like maybe we should do that. And this is for a big company like Amazon, right? Like, holy shit, like pay what you want from for like a AAA game or something. But at the end of the day, you have to actually take into account what your people under you on your team are making, because their lives are also, they're also people too, right? And if you're having to basically, turn off the game because the game didn't make enough money, like especially if you have an online game, online games have to make a certain amount of money every month, or it's not like a single player game that's like, you could spend a couple, like X number of $1 million to make it, and then it's done. It's not costing you that much money to run. An online game is different in that, it costs a lot of money to run an online game. Let's see, all of these sprites are 127 by 128. That's what it looks like. So let's try it. So cell width 127, 128, number of cells X. See how many frames we got? 29. So this should be 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21. I don't see 29 frames for this sprite. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 16, 18, 19, 20, 21. Why are there 29 frames? Are some of these frames duplicates? They must be duplicates. But basically, at the end of the, yeah, don't like the mobile things. But that's just me. I also am not a fan of mobile game stuff, and especially the mobile game business practices that are used. They're destructive to the industry in a lot of ways. But yeah, if like an online game doesn't make enough money, you have to shut it off. And that's the worst thing for customers to do, is to, make a game and then have to turn it the hell off because you can't support it anymore. That's awful. Which is part of why that was one of the things that has disillusioned me about some things. Because pretty much all the games I've worked on get shut off because I'm a server engineer. Because eventually they stop making money. It's like, that feels so bad. Alright, so it looks like we can automatically import these things pretty nicely. And this guy probably still has the wrong... Yeah, he's got the wrong sprite going on. The wrong material, sorry. Yeah, that looks a lot better. So we'll get these things rolled in here. Let's see, we got this explosion next. So let's take a look at it, and let's see, its size is, looks like they're 512 by 512, and they can have a margin of 2 and 2. Like, it's one of those things with, if Adam doesn't make any money off of anything, etc., Brackenwood doesn't go anywhere either, right? Like, that's the whole point of Patreon and the rest, is to try to... It seems like Patreon and a lot of those things are reactions to free-to-play and a lot of the other... and a lot of the other things that have taken a lot of money, where you can more support artists in a more fair way and support content creators. But at the end of the day, it's like people need to realize where their money goes. Alright, so we need to create a sprite out of this. These are all 512. Alright. So let's grid this out. So cell width, let's do 512, 512. Let's see. 7. How many frames that we got here? It looks like it ends down there, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5. I think it's 2, 2, 2, 2, 2. Cool, that looks pretty good. Kind of excluding the middleman. Middleman could be the one who is connected. Yeah. That's kind of the other thing. When you got those bigger corporations, they're not always bad, right? They help actually create those much larger scope things. And they also help keep people on task. Like, that's one of the big things, is keeping focus on a project and driving it to completion. Somebody needs to be there kicking people in the ass to do it, you know? And a lot of that is solved by having the looming prospect of losing your roof. Like, we need to ship this, otherwise we don't do anything. We're screwed. Can actually be an incredibly good motivator. So it looks like these sprites are just garbage. Let's just create a flipbook out of this. Call this cartoon explosion. Somehow I think this is turning into an argument between capitalism and communism. So let's see. Cool. That's looking pretty good. I always see both sides of the coin. Well, that's pretty much how it needs to be. It's never so simple. That's why I don't think, like, some of the bigger companies like EA, etc. They're not too bad. From being on the inside, the company itself treated its employees pretty well, and also did a really good job trying to treat the customers well. But EA took on all the hate from everything else, and then would hold studios accountable for their own actions. And things like, oh man, SimCity, blah blah blah. I know things about that, and that was not EA coming in and screwing things up. I'll tell you that much. It's like if you're there selling your company to EA, let's just say you're not making $2 bajillion, are you? You're selling your company for a damned reason. Alright, so Cloud Puffs looks like 127 by 128. And then we again have these. There's 3 there. And it looks like it ends there. So is that 4? It's 5. And then again 2, 2. I think all these came from Harmony, so that's why they have all this 2's spacing on it. Was some sort of grid implementation by Harmony to prevent pixel sampling from screwing up sprite stuff. And we can delete 2 of those frames. At least when I was still playing. Well, the thing is, some people absolutely love those sports games and play them every single year, and they don't want anything to change. It's crazy, but it's... I mean, they're releasing those sports games for the PS2, like, until, you know, just like recently. Because people want it. People love that shit. So I don't know. They got all sorts of stuff. take a look at this cloud puff. Looking pretty good. What's next on the list? This electricity impact. Alright. So I'm doing to import these guys is I'm just dragging the texture in. Unreal's importing the texture for us, and then we're using the Paper 2D tools to extract the sprites. And these sprites were all exported with a specific grid, and I've got an export sprite JSON file that tells me what is this the electric impact here? It tells me what the dimensions are of things, and I'm trying to grid them out because they were used for a different game, so their export is all sorts of it's not Unreal friendly, it was more friendly to Unity and all that. Let's see, 3, and that's 4. And there's a lot of things I wish PaperDuty had here, like tell me the number, like, you know, 1, 2, 3, and then I can just easily do things, but I can find anything to bitch about, can't I? Yeah, like, I guess one thing, you know, people can hate on EA for a lot of things, but we wouldn't even have like the latest Mass Effect stuff without them. Because the doctors aren't even at BioWare anymore. You know? They left. Let's see, electric impact flip. And let's grab the right material for that. You can always recognize Adam's art style. You really can. You can always be like, yep, Adam drew that. That's his. Right, so this is energy build. Yeah, EA has gotten so much crap for its customer service that their customer service has gotten a lot better. And the reason for that is when they transitioned from kind of more classic games to more digital games, because their stock price was going down there, you know, and they had some bad years there, and they had to switch CEOs and all that sort of stuff. And they started, you know, doing more free-to-play games. The issue with free-to-play games is you have a lot of people who don't pay for your game needing customer support. And the company, EA, was having a lot of trouble at that point, right? And then they switched to digital, and then they're spending all this money for customer service for people who aren't paying for their game, right? And it's just, that's a lot of damn money. And a lot of that money would actually be billed to the studio itself. My customer support would actually log like how many hours and calls for a specific game, and then that game would have to pay the customer service department, you know, for that amount of time. So what he's saying is these free-to-play games all of a sudden were requiring all this customer support, and these are customers that, these weren't people who paid anything, so all of a sudden customer support costs went through the damn roof, so they had to really trim it back, right? Because they're like, oh, Jesus, we can't do this. And all that. And what they ended up basically doing was, it required kind of a number of years to actually get it sorted out, because the free-to-play games needed to actually, customer service had to change, and the free-to-play games departments had to change, in that they had to set flags on your account for, like, you're actually a paying customer and stuff like that. And if you ever bought, like, any EA game, you're going to get good customer service now. If you didn't buy any EA game, you're not going to get that much customer service, because it's just too damn expensive. They can't do it. So we got this guy. He's got the wrong material. And I think that's perfectly fair. Like, if you've never bought any games there, you're not going to get stellar customer service. But they had to get that machinery in place, because they just were losing so much freaking money from people overseas, etc., who never bought any EA titles but need a whole bunch of help with, and it would just end up like the infrastructure in their country doesn't have internet very well, so the game would be all screwed up. And it's just, you can't have a business where that happens and have employees that get paid money. So yeah, even if you bought it 8 years ago, it's all there. That's actually one of the benefits of having, a long-running company, is the company can support that and help you out long after the studio is gone. They still exist. So let's take a look at this guy. What do we got? So this guy is it's like 127 by 128. So there's one cell, there are 3 frames, and the margins are going to be 2, 2, 2, and 2 again. Alright, so let's keep going here. We need hit 2. Let's just assembly line some of this. We got 5 hits, so let's just do hit 3. Hit 4. Hit 5. Come on now. Unreal's being a little clunky. Because when you drag a texture through these windows, it's trying to figure out what to do with it. Alright, so let's extract sprites. Let's grid it up. I think this is going to be the same 127, 128. We're going to have 1 and then 2 and 2, 2, 2, and 2. So we're going to extract all these and create the flipbooks for them. Hit 3. Grid them up. 27 by 128, 1 and 2, 2, 2, 2, 2. And this is a lot of game development. You just gotta click a whole bunch of crap all in a row and do all the things. There's a lot of this. A whole hell of a lot of just boring blah 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 and blah. Because once you get your tools set up and it's just making levels and all that, you just gotta put on your headphones and get to work. And that's pretty much it. This one looks like it might be a little bit different. So let's take a look at what it looks like in JSON. Looks like everything is 127 by 128. Looks like we are a 3 by 2 and 2, 2, 2. I only got you in headphones. Yeah, that's true. That's what I remember in like school is you'd have like a pile of homework or something to do, and I remember thinking just, this is how I get my A. This is how it's just, I need to sit here for the next 8 hours, and that's how it works. Nothing else to it. And being able to sit down and just do work is a physical skill, I believe. It's a physical skill, and it's also like there's only so much juice in your head. So, you know, you can't be sitting down and doing work if you're worried about, you know, like, oh no, I need to take the trash out or something else. Like there's only so much mental power you've got. It's taken up by everything. Okay, so I need to open up all these flipbooks. And then get the materials set properly. So if you never learn to actually just sit down and do work, like your brain never develops the ability to do so, as far as I know. Much slower than you could be. Well, that was the one thing in college that I actually really liked, was we learned how to learn, not how to do. And we're going to do our adding files to source control dance. Let's see, we got two more things to add here. Once Perforce is pleased with our progress. And then we're gonna have to move all this crap around again too. Can I just cancel all this shit? Like, just stop. Stop. Ah. Like, it's asking Perforce for every single one of these, and it's literally going to take like 5 damn minutes, and I can't cancel out of the save operation. So, this is one of the annoying things with Unreal that I do not like, is it doesn't batch up saves to your version control, so you end up basically sitting here when this should have been done in like literally less than 10 seconds. I'm just hitting the cancel button like 2 million times, and shit's not saved properly with Perforce now, and Unreal is totally not okay with it. What we're actually going to do is we're going to disconnect from source control, and we'll resolve our changes later. Which is not how you should do it most of the time, but it's how I'm going to do it. So we need small fire. And we need spark. Well, it depends on what college you're going to, Karakan. Some people don't go to college to learn. Let's see, we want small fire. Is it effect flame? Yeah, there it is. Looks like these are 127 by 128 again. Looks like we got 3 by 6, or is that 5? So looks like we can chop off 2 of the frames as well. Alright, let's go to Spark. .127 by 128 again on this one. So this is going to be 3, and that's 5. And 2, 2, 2, and 2. And it seems like I should probably consider writing some sort of importer. I'll write it down, some sort of effect importer. We will need an effect import tool. And basically the effect import tool should take the... because we're going to need tons of effects and stuff like that in the game that Adam's going to animate. And, you know, obviously if we have to hand import all of those things, we're never going to ship the damn game. So I should do something about that. So translucent unlit sprite material. And let's go back to our stuff. Zero and 10 by 10. Alright, so we've got all these effects playing. Cool. So I think that's all those. So we're going to organize them real quick and throw them where they need to go. So let's see. We've got explosions. We're going to have, I'm going to do channeled, and let's do hit effects, do hits, or just impacts. And let's have another one that's kind of like smoke, or whatever. Alright, so we need to move things. Cloud Puff looks like that, so that's going to be... Cloud Puff needs to move to smoke. Let's move folder here. The hits, we're going to actually rename this one to hit 1. Hits need to go in impacts. Small fire should stay where it is, I believe. Well, we can't move all these? Wait, what in the hell happened? Why are there these folders here? They're all empty. Are these empty? No. Okay, good. Okay, give me a break here. There's nothing in these folders. Why are you telling me that I'm gonna break things? Well, let's just save everything, exit, and reload the editor, and see if the editor figures out what the hell it's doing with its life. Yeah, there's literally nothing inside of these folders, so... Alright, our spark should... That is an explosion. Small fire is fine. Energy build needs to go into channeled. Where the hell is channeled? Well, I guess channeled left us. Alright, so we got the ball spawn, barrel explosions, electrical impacts, explosion, small fire, and spark. And we got all these sorts of smoke effects and all that stuff. Excellent. So let's go fix our perforce and all that. So I'm going to save everything, exit the editor, and fix our perforce settings. So let's reconcile. Files that need to don't fall under one of the 3 basic categories. What? Alright, let's just... see what happens here real quick. Perforce is not being very happy with me. Which is fine. It can be as unhappy as it wants. I can terminate its server if I want to. Failed to load up energy build flip. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. That's fine. What's up, Sinacron? We're just working on... We're going to be working on getting these effects playing easily from within blueprints and from everywhere that we want to do things. So that's the plan. So in order to test out our systems, basically what we've done is we just we took a whole bunch of existing assets from some other games that another game that Adam and I were messing with, which was my previous game, and just putting them in here so we have something to play, something to play with that's not just complete garbage. So that's looking pretty good. I'm going to save that and check all that stuff in, and then we should be able to make sure everything is good to go. Cool. And we're also having some fun explaining how basic game engine works and how to build one. Like I was asking earlier, trying to grok a few things. So I was explaining like how a core loop works in a game. Alright, so which ones? Perforce loves to get really confused. So let's see, this is Explosions, Cloud Puff, Sprite. Alright, energy build, flip inside of Explosions, energy build. Yeah, and this was part of that whole thing freaking out. And hit one, flip asset. Let's make sure our hit one flip asset is in the correct spot. Oh, yeah, that's just the wrong frickin'... That file doesn't exist anymore. Okay. There we go. And we're just making sure that our stuff didn't go straight to hell with Perforce. It likes to do that. Cool, okay, so we've got our effects and all that stuff working. So what do we need to do to actually spawn these things in here as effects? We need to... What we probably want to do is go into that game, that logic object there for the player. And we want to change this to actually spawn something that we care about. So it looks like we're going to want to basically make a blueprint which plays a single flipbook. You know, a thing that plays a single flipbook from start till end, and then deletes itself when it's over. Cool. Well, been streaming for what? Almost 2 hours? I'm gonna take a pretty short break here, about 5 minutes or less. Go grab like energy bar or something, snack on that, and then get back to work here. So it should be just not too long. I'm not like gonna go cook a bunch of food or something. So I will be right back in a little bit.